Hi there. Well, it's November 12th, and this is the Master Pattern and Dr. Bob Flower. And we're going to talk about a couple of different things today, including, of course, the election and some aftermath. Let's talk a little bit about our calls from 2 weeks ago. I was out with the flu last week, and you weren't going to hear from me no matter who won the election. Um, our call on silver for the first, I believe it was. We called for a big move on silver, and it hit big. I think it was $1.30. However, it was down. Um, one of the fallacies of the natural pattern, as I've told you in the past, it's great for predicting the day, but not the direction. We're still not there yet. But we're working on it. And then election day, that one we did get that one right. It was up about 83 cents, I think it was that day. Um, Oil continued down and will still continue down at least for another week. And now that the election is over, it's going to be yeah, we're gonna reverse our positions here pretty soon. Um, and the S&P, of course, did break down as we figured. It came a little later than we thought, but uh, we expected to be down into well, the first wave is going to be down into late December. The big wave is going to come sometime around February or March, the real big one. And we expect to see the metals kind of flipping around here. I think they're going to start up. It looks like the end of December. You know, maybe the 21st around up with a good move up. Um, and we think we'll know about the oil by next week. We're gonna see where that's going for sure. But we do think it'll continue down a little bit more here. Okay, so let's talk about a few things here. Let's talk about the economy, the election, and some things that we're hearing around. First, I want to talk to you about this Petraeus thing. Um, Nobody has given us an answer, or nor have we heard an explanation as to why the FBI was investigating Petraeus. And I want to give you my 2 cents worth. Do you remember towards the end of last year, beginning of this year, there was talk about Petraeus running for the presidency? Well, our esteemed leader, in all his paranoia, took that to heart. And guess what? What do you think he's being investigated for? Yep, that's right. He's going to be a threat. Uh, he's going to be investigated. And and now I think they're scrambling to find out to put something together that people are going to buy. All right. Uh, he's never going to come across because he's in trouble here. He's in big trouble. So that's what I think was going on with Petraeus. Um, the other issue here is why Romney lost, and why Romney lost has a lot to do with Obama's tactics, which I think, by the way, were brilliant. And if you remember, what we said was the week before the election that we thought that Romney was going to win the popular vote, and Obama was going to win the presidency. Well, he didn't quite win the popular, but he came very, very close. I mean, it's one of the closer elections since Bush and the other guy. So anyway, what happened here? There were a number of things. See, Romney is and always was a moderate, but wackadoos like Santorum and the other guy, the Speaker of the House there, um, bashed him so badly that he was forced to move to the conservative column, more so than he certainly wanted to. And the conservatives realize that, but these are how did the Democratic leader say? They're a bunch of stodgy, old, angry men, and nothing could be further from. It's an absolute truism. Okay, they are, and that's why Romney lost. That's one of the main reasons is the structure and concepts of the now Republican Party, and that has everything to do with the way a candidate is selected. And of course, in the process, you have to kowtow to the way the leaders want you to go. Otherwise, you're out. So they pushed him to the point where not only did he have to move to an area that he was always uncomfortable with, to as well as to having to spend an awful lot of money defending his bid, so that when he went out, when the primary was over, he didn't have money to fight the onslaught of Obama ads and painting him as being this bad guy, and that hurt him a lot because if you hear the same thing enough, you'll tend to believe it. And one of the other reasons is that I told a couple of my friends they were very upset with me that I thought that this was going to be the final outcome. This was back in July, August, and I told them that every time I see Karl Rove or Mitch McConnell or Reince, the head of the Republican National Party, he lost another half a point because these are not the images that people want to see, especially the common folk, the middle America, so to speak. And even those that liked Romney, such as myself. These guys. I would always say, shut up, get off the television. Who the hell wants to hear you? Because while I agreed with the reasons they wanted Obama out, I didn't agree with what they were going to do when they got in there. And I'm not saying that that Romney wouldn't have done the right thing. I believe he would have, but that means that the big wigs of the party are still in control, and we don't want that with either party. Next, he played it too safe, which is typical of angry old men type. Not him, but his handlers, and he had him on the ropes after that first debate. Then what did they do? They played safe. They figured that everybody's going to vote for anybody but the president. Well, he proved them wrong. He had a brilliant strategy, and it worked. And they didn't have any strategy. Now, let's talk about some other stuff. The president and Harry the Weed say that they have a mandate. They won. So now they 50% of the people voted for him. Okay, and 49%, 48.5% voted for Romney. So therefore, what they say should go. Like for instance, this extending the Bush tax cuts. Well, I'm going to show you the fallacy of their thinking and the beauty of natural intelligence. If that's their criteria for that type of vote or that type of decision making, what about the 60% of the people who are in favor of abolishing Obamacare or at least amending it drastically? Are they going to follow that mandate? These are people that, even though they voted for Obama, this is what they want. Are you going to do that, Mr. President, Mr. Democratic Party? Somehow I don't think so. So it's selective thinking, selective decision making, which is so typical of either party. And the other thing is, Obama made some deals for cash, for money, for campaign money. And he's going to go pay them off right now. He's going on a trip to Asia, because that's where it came from. And watch Asia, watch Russia, because we are about to become a second-rate nation. Absolutely. There's no two ways about it. And they are going to grow significantly, more so than what they have been. So, a word to the wise is sufficient. All the rats are going to be leaving the ship. The Attorney General certainly looks like he's definitely going. Um, the Treasury, head of the Treasury, and Hillary are all gone. By February, I think, is the latest one that they're, because of what's coming. There are going to be things in banking, in finance, and in not social political issues that are going to come to the forefront. So, where are we going forward? All right. I personally think that the president is going to make his decisions going forward for at least the first 3 years um, on the basis of legacy. I don't think he's going to support his base the way they think or they like. There was one man of color who was interviewed, and they showed the clip on John Stossel showed it about what did Obama's reelection mean to freedom for him, and his comment was, "Well, it gives us a place at the table we never had, and with the place at the table, we get to decide who suffers the most." You know? Sorry to hear that, but that's where our country is going. That type of thinking, and the, the groups that voted for Obama, and don't forget, as far as mandates are concerned, Obama got 9 million less votes this time than he did the last time. But what happened was that they outmaneuvered the Republicans. A lot of them stayed home, didn't vote. A lot of the non-committals didn't vote, or they went more so for the president than they did for Romney. So all these factors are important factors for why one lost and the other one won, and where we're going from here. And and besides, let me say the last thing. Insofar as Romney is concerned, every time he said something correct and he criticized the president, which was a truth, he did it in the sense of small business. Now, there ain't enough small business people in this country to win an election. They may be a strong part of it, but middle America, middle income people, lower income people, what do they care about small businesses? Their interest is themselves. And the president promised them, candy and ice cream and popcorn and everything else, and now they're getting it. And that's their reward. Just keep giving them things, and taking it from the coffers and giving these people everything. That's why we're in the fiscal trouble we're at. So let's see what's going to happen going forward, because I don't necessarily think that the president is going to do things that his base wants or requires. All right. Now, going forward, additionally, there is great concern about the effectiveness and efficiency of both parties. And if you remember, during the year, I told you that one thing you can be guaranteed assured is that if the president won, you would see a mass movement towards a third party. And I'm here to tell you that that's already started. That there's two groups, one based right here in New York, that have already raised $3 million within a week, and there's going to be a major move. It's going to take a little time for them to put the whole program together, but and put the players in place. In fact, very interestingly, they've already brought in a Hollywood personality, big time, who is a flaming liberal. I mean, a flaming liberal, who now wants to he wants to change his ways and take on a more moderate approach to running the country. So you keep stay tuned, because we are going to see some major stuff going down in that respect, and that may be the only way that this country can pull itself out from this political malaise that both the Democrats and the Republicans. And I've been saying that right along. Look, I don't like the way the president handles himself. I don't believe in this separation. I don't believe in this, these phony promises and rhetoric, and I don't believe in these giveaways. Never did. My whole life, and when I do these lectures and seminars on potential, my whole life is that based on the fact of you've got to develop your potential, and sitting around and not doing that, or not being willing to make the sacrifices that are necessary to advance yourself, emotionally, intellectually, physically, and even spiritually. If you don't, you're not going to win. And I can tell you that the move towards expatriation is going to be a substantial with wealthy people. And when they go, the country goes. All right? You can take. That's not good for the country. I don't care whether they have jobs or not, but when they go, they're going to take a lot with them, and a lot of strengths of this nation. We've got to come to the realization that there's no one way or another. You can't have it all rich Republicans, and you can't have it all poor Democrats or middle-income Democrats. You can't play the system anymore. The system is broken, and I don't think people are getting it. And if you don't get it, you lose it. So it's most important that when we look at things, we try and look at the truth. People say, well, how can you say that you're a Democrat when you talk like that? Well, you know what? I'm a Jack Kennedy Democrat, and if you go back and you read some of his beliefs, you would swear that the man's a Republican. You would swear it. Yet he was one of the most popular presidents that ever lived. And by the way, he was fairly effective. Now, if that's democracy, if that's leaning as a Democrat, then look at where we are. Look at how far to socialism that concept has evolved. That's why I'm saying I don't believe in socialism. It doesn't work. Oh sure, maybe it works for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, but it dies, just like the Soviet Union. It just doesn't work. And even China, sure, they're still a communist state, but they are turning so much into a economic democracy. It's getting ridiculous, for Christ's sake. And by the way, they're starting to have some serious problems there with their housing. So you're going to be hearing about that. You're going to be hearing about some very bad banking news coming out, which I'm going to keep on top of and let you know. And I sure hope that people look at this as an opportunity to do better themselves and to make this country great. Because even though things are going to get worse, there's always ways to be successful and make money. Right? And sometimes it's the simplest thing. And next week I'm going to describe to you a program I have that that anybody can do. And I'd like you to consider. There's also a a higher interest rate play that I'm going to discuss with you next week. Okay, so you guys have a good week. I hope things turned out the way you like, and if they didn't, I hope you now work on making things better. Okay, have a good week.